Your emotions were leading you. He thought about that for a moment. She was right. The result of the memory deletion had to be defined prior. She said one last thing in regards. We do not tolerate enemies. You are under our guidance, and it is paramount that we keep you alive and hidden. She kissed him and they walked over to the horses at the fence. A 6-foot-tall variable clone flashed into existence next to them. They talked to variable clone T19, who was a temporary replacement. Clone X18 appeared next to it, and she appeared 100% human. Educate them to the degree appropriate for their ages. Supervise them until we return, as you command. Master Elandria. Sorrentarius, it is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. You are of high estate and many desire to meet you. Your new base to Nerita Exos was where he and I were constructed. We are newer iterations. That is wonderful. You both appear fully human. Is your thermal and infrared vision working properly? It is. And our regenerative cells are in place now. It's sunny here for around 12 hours per day, so you know, they will require sleep at night, as they are human. They need food 3 times a day, and I have no worries in regards to your educational abilities. Start with physics first, then astronomy. Math will follow. They will require funding until they are of age to support themselves. Earth deals with expenses with what are termed as dollars and coins. Fractional currency as well, as you can create gold at any moment. There exists an Earth-based holding facility for it called a bank. Go to town, assess the place, become familiar with your new surroundings. One moment, he said as he turned away from them. 1 second later he and Elandria disappeared to an unknown location. Time to move, she said. Absolutely. My animals, though I shall find a solution. I'll be fine with it, whatever it is. Nelson made it back home 2 minutes later by himself, and thought about the entirety of what he had just learned. He became tired by his excitement about the future, and didn't have to worry about his animals any longer. They were going with him. It was the first time the house was filled with more than 2 people, and it was strange, and somewhat sad. He and his past wife had no children. It was hard to go to sleep as he was also overexcited. Oracle did not help in that regard. She explained she was returning the next morning. As he woke up the next day he went downstairs after dressing himself, said hi to the new family, and a vertical ring of sparks around 6 feet tall formed in the living room. Elandria stepped out of it onto the floor. He ran to her and held her hand as she stood up. The morning is much more beautiful now. Greetings, my star. I have a surprise for you today. A few in actuality. What do you mean? She snapped her fingers and they disappeared, and ended up at the edge of a cliff overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. He could smell jasmine in the air. I'm assuming you're gonna tell me something important, or we'd still be at my home. It is no longer, and we reward progress with certain types of gifts to those we deem more than worthy. You have progressed upon our agenda in a perfect manner. Aside from my love for you, you must be rewarded as it is integral to protocol. Well, how nice of you. I mean all of you. It feels good to hold you again. Next chapter. Home on the range. It's time for a change. It was time to come to terms with the fact that the ranch would not be his any longer. After she arrived, he walked outside with her a few minutes later. He looked at the barn. He remembered every moment of building it with Karen, and the house. There was a mountain of memories tied up in that home, but it wasn't the same home anymore. No matter what he did, or how he viewed it, it wasn't the same. As expressed prior, the last thing he thought of was looking for another wife, and believed he would die at home. So it was a miracle that he met his final companion. He became sad, as was finally at that moment where he had to say goodbye to it all. After a day alone on Ilyria, they both returned to the ranch. He felt a large weight was removed from his soul. He knew Elandria could see Karen, and smiled at her and spoke with her for a moment while Nelson was in the kitchen. But as he looked at his home, things changed. 3 days had passed and the 2 minutes they were gone. There were too many people that were aware and had interest in stopping by Nelson's house. One of his neighbors, 3 miles away, saw Elandria's ship leaving from and landing in his yard multiple times. Word of it spread fast, and he knew the news reporters would eventually show up and eventually tourists. After a quick explanation, the new variable parents were prepared to inform others that Nelson passed away, and that they purchased the estate from an auction. He heard the kids inside and the variable parents talking to them. He almost felt like turning around and leaving them be, but he walked up onto the porch, and opened the door. "Hi mister," the little girl said. It was alarming to see her again. She had no idea she was an adult prior. "Greetings landlord. May we be of assistance?" the variable parents inquired. No, just stopped by to check things out," Nelson said. He walked into the living room and then into the dining room. Oracle wasn't there though, and then he thought about it. He couldn't be there, with normal human children. The entire world would have known about Oracle otherwise. He sat down and thought about how different his life had become. The contrast was even more apparent than any moment prior. My work is done here, and to think I spent 3 days building the 6x6 foot bathroom. I did well, I think. I'm glad I also have Stella and the others. There was one more thing about to happen, and it was the highlight of his life. Elendria entered into his mind and told him that there was a huge surprise that he had to prepare himself for. She told him what time, and he readied himself. The variables and the children were on their way to a camping trip, and Nelson left the bathroom after 4 minutes and helped them pack their stuff into the yellow car. He laughed at the idea of it all as he talked with the kids. They had no idea they were the ones that drove it to his house begin with. Elendria had done a good job of adjusting the uninvited guests. He laughed over and over again as they drove away, but he was waving too. Then it was back to Lydia for a few days, and he reviewed a couple planets in the constellation of Leo to build some bases on. He returned home and began taking every item of paper, and anything that would fit into the ring he was wearing. There was so much stuff in the house. Chapter 29. Some incentives. After many weeks working on terraforming a small moon, Veronis and Nelson built a second home for Nelson, on 1,110 acres. It was a large dome that protected the perfectly designed biome, and the nature around it was genuinely perfect. Around 30 feet above the ground was a futuristic looking structure. That was the home. It was an alien-styled form and architecture, and he loved the appearance. A Class 2 teleport device was given to him by Veronis. It was not simply a intra-universal teleporter. It could bring him to Earth, or Lydia. He was given a simple ring that he would rotate on his finger in either direction to teleport in and out of the home. He spent one full day with the horses, his chickens and Oracle, in the barn that was a mini dome. A materializer produced water for his plants inside his home and outside in the barn dome. He was so happy to hang out with them and run around in the fields. The color of the landscape was just like Earth, with a holographic sky. It was weird for him, and although it didn't feel natural, the idea of bringing his animals to an even better place made him feel better. A well-made satellite home, Nelson. It appears your animals are at ease, and thanks to you as well. The fields of wheat and oats, the gardens. I think I did a good job with the variable farmers. I'm just amazed that this was even possible. It's perfect for them. Elendria has expressed her happiness in revealing something to you. Oh, so what's going on now? Short symbols were relayed to each other. Elendria was very excited to show Nelson. So much work had been afforded to it, and it was something that would educate him further. A small hill with a rock ledge was next to the floating home, and in the ledge was a short half-oval opening. It was the entrance to his new garage UFO maintenance hangar. It was 30 cubits by 90, and the entrance appeared around 40 feet tall. Why it was so large made no sense to him. And why am I not surprised? Forget I said that. Okay, there's a garage here. Wow. The door was seamless. She showed him a small panel on the front corner of the garage at around head height. It was 2 inches by 1 inches, and he had to push on a small tab to open it. It had a slightly recessed dot in the center. Focus on the spot. Spectrum red intensity level 10, she implied. Okay, he said as 2 red laser beams came from his eyes and converged on the dot. An ultra-thin line appeared next to him on the front face of the garage, and he could see it slowly opening. The massive doors slid horizontally and appeared to disappear into the garage walls. Huh, no frickin' way, he said as he walked into the garage. The floor was pure white and shiny. Whoa, okay, what's that? And what's that? That is a light bar. The thing is like 1 foot long and 1 inch wide, and it's lighting up the whole building. Are you not curious as to what the objects are? Nelson looked down from the ceiling and looked at a large object in the center of the room. Oh yes, believe me, now I'm really curious. I can't tell what it is. Nelson touched the micro-thin reflective metallic film and was amazed at how thin and reflective it was. The object had a slightly convex roof. He grabbed onto the outer edge of the covering and pulled it off. It weighed virtually nothing and flew across the room. It's a no way. You've got to be kidding me, surely this is no jest. Nelson rested his hands on his knees and almost fell over. He quickly stood up and stared at the brilliantly polished outer surface of a brand new elite class ship. It was 22 feet in diameter and 9 feet tall. It was not in operation but was hovering 2 feet from the floor. His eyes were open wide and he was speechless. Now then, do not be shy. It is yours, she said with a smile. For me, really? I don't even know how to thank you. This is the most amazing and important gift I have ever been given. It's one thing to experience these things as a spectator when I was young, and to see you both in them, and to fly in them, but this is beyond incredible and it means so much to me. I really cannot thank you enough. This is the best gift ever as of yet. Really? Well, okay then. I kind of feel terrible. Once again, that I have nothing of the same significance to offer you. Not even close. This is the apex of future technology. Top secret technology. You alone are now top secret technology. Be sure to acknowledge that. All I require is your companionship. All Varanus requires is the same, with more focus on his design procedures. Your gratification, trust, and passion for me surpasses any physical gift you could offer. Surely it couldn't be that simple. Surely it is. Meet your new anomaly. Nelson walked towards it and touched the outer edge of it. It was as if it had an invisible wire going through the center of it. No matter how hard he pushed it, it would slowly wobble back into place. He gave it a light spin and watched it rotate. He looked very closely and attempted to find a seam, a screw, a panel, something that would indicate that it was built in parts. But it was seamless and was smooth as silk. It was at room temperature when he touched it. The black details, the lines and semi-oval dots. How fast can it go? Instant acceleration and transit at the speed of photon travel and beyond. Perfect. Does it have weapons? It is a weapon. Varanus will educate you further as to its defense systems. He is equally adept at further defining its technical data if required. You have a radiative barrier cell structure now as part of your physical upgrading. A normal human on the exterior would not survive in its direct presence during operation as it emits deadly radiation. Not only nuclear, equally in that it will immolate anything in proximity that is composed of organic matter. You are now immune to the radiation. Your skin is sterile as well. So my skin. I knew it had direct purpose. Of course. I should have known. She smiled at him. Alright, so, how do I turn it on? Or enter it? It is on, as you touched it, sleeping, as an analogy, and consciously idle. First, the being requires a title. The title initiates its reasoning processes. It is a thought-induced initiation. You will be its primary owner, thus your new entity will grow with you, as if it were your child. It must be a name that is benign, and does not draw attention. The name spoken from your mouth only will be the call sign. Alright. What would be the most fitting? Aha. Starlight. Yes, that's an awesome name for it. I mean her. How fitting. And a female. Completely benign. Have you seen Starlight? Haha. Yes, we are impressed. Varanus replied. It is perfect. Suddenly the outer surface showed dots of light, and they began to spin in a circle around the outer perimeter of the edge. I will now leave you to be. I must teleport now. Enjoy your new sentient mechanism, Antarius. Thank you so much, Varanus. I really hope, at some point soon, that you and I can hang out with each other alone, and do something fun. All workings of mine are fun, 99% rather, so show me. Let's spend some time soon. He couldn't see it, but Elendria was happy to see it. He was so thankful, and legitimately overwhelmed that it was real. Nelson heard an ultra-high frequency sound for a second, and he watched Starlight's two-part outer hull begin to spin in counter-rotation of each other. It was fully operating for the first time, and silent. He was alarmed when it began to talk to him. Initializing. Assessment. Armament. Power sequencing neutral. Performing identification scan. Weapon system initiated. Standby. Power systems. Stable. Full continuity. Exterior planetary environment scan complete. Sentient database initiated. Physical identification receptors active. Fabricator entity in proximity. Scanning. Secondary entity. Leader. Energy. Yes, you can call me your leader. Or friend. Performing identity integer protocol. Data input required. Identification initialization. Processing. 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 Your name is Starlight, and you belong to Nelson Hattup. I mean Antarius Apexer. Either will suffice. Recording data stimulus. Storing data. Owner pairing protocol confirmed. Processing complete. Initialization complete. I am complete. Good day, Antarius Nelson. What is my intended protocol? I'm overwhelmed by your kindness. Stand by. Allow me to assess this new reality for a moment. You are not dreaming at this time, Elendria stated from a short distance. So you were made on Earth, and somewhere else, but you're here. This is your new home. We are on Eltateria. 39,360 stellar units from Earth. So where was she made? By Lydia and Tyria. Cool. Okay, Starlight, Earth is where I came from. Your primary fabricator and creator is here as well. She is proud to see you begin your existence, mother. Processing fabricator energy sphere. I am pleased to sense your presence once more. Now that my voice emitter is operational, it is now that I praise you for my creation. I am pleased with your resulting existence, Elendria replied. That was quick. I would never have imagined. And there is no latency in the ship's communication as there are no mechanical gaps in its construction. Efficiency is crucial in our existence. Starlight, welcome. Your composition is self-sustaining. Furium, Vindium 8, Herex 90 in Type 2 Class 1 Farian and a 5-axis elemental lattice dimensioner, known as Feld, were used to create you. You are a standalone iteration. Your data relay system has just been redeveloped. A new technology, inter-universal transit is possible with her, and Starlight can be remotely operated from any distance. The radar system creates a series of illuminated grids dependent upon the situation that assesses everything within 1/2 light year around her. The approach, departure, interdimensional rendering is visual. The matrix grid will also indicate trajectories that enemy ships or beings utilize, what weapon systems they possess, and of what composure the enemy ship is designed. It is interdimensionally secure and will expand in stages. From inside, the exterior, no matter the increase in the inner dimension, remains the same. How fast can it go? Light cannot surpass it. It will be chasing the ship at her maximum speed. She has the ability to merge with the antimatter expansion, and will use space, or the HOLOS itself to accelerate her past the rate of photon travel. She has the capability to utilize neutrino radiation, and as such is capable of beyond light speed alone. Black stars. She is designed in the same manner. The mirrored stars have no influence on her operation. Observe now. Starlight. Cloak. In all spectrums. Wow. Totally gone. I can't see her at all. In other dimensions too, superior technology. Untraceable is her existence. No nuclear time gravity signature can be found while in operation. She is effective, or I should admit Varanus had a hand in the weapon designs, at removing large quantities of enemies. How so? Plasmic fire of multiple dimensions. She will become as hot and bright as a stellar body, dwarf body to be exact. Her intensity can be altered, the spectrum of radiation can be altered, and her shape can be altered. There is no defense available against her. Not only will she vaporize a hominid form to the extent where no ash can be found, she will melt everything around it. Buildings, mountains, convert them into lava. She can. Unlike other technology akin to her, they cannot pass through a planet like she is able to. The type of plasma she produces is the most complex form known, and will create other versions of it on her own. Wait until you observe the interior. Starlight. Brainwave sequencing assessed. Connect. Direct flow transfer. Learn. Evolve. Grow. Merge as one. Just so you know, this is so far beyond, well, in terms of Earth, but I know I say that a lot. It's so far beyond the last amazing thing I experienced. The abilities. Incredible. My head tingles now. What was that about brainwave pairing? The transmission and reception processes within each of you are now in parallel, phased as one. Starlight, you may now enjoy your independence as a solitary entity. Elendria looked at the ship and back at Nelson and said, she is exponentially more advanced than the most gifted human on Earth. Starlight is a living mechanism that possesses superior critical thinking abilities upon a tier 3 level, as she was constructed up to 98% complete. She completed the last stage of her composition by herself, an autonomous mechanism that is ever learning and truly eternal. Unlike a clock, she is able to render all known spectrums into visible light stimulus for you, if required. Indestructible, her quasi-Feld construction is a secret, a new blend. Invisible. Indeed, she is there. Touch, not there, but existent. No other ship has this ability. The matrix grid will define the rate of speed, level of power, and intended trajectory of enemy ships. She is one step ahead of every turn. Acceleration. Stopping. I implemented the DNA flight patterns and structure of a dragonfly and installed it into her flight interface hub. Okay, well, I'm just gonna stop here for a minute. Every T is crossed with this design. I couldn't see through her hull either. That's weird. Your local stellar system is void of the chemicals and raw elements used to develop her intelligent quasi-alloys. We will in the future resort to bringing examples to Earth, to show humans what they do not know exists. Starlight's quasi-crystalline composition involves separate dimension serious stuff. Luckily I can understand that. Phase space quantum reasoning. Variable cells of possibilities. This ship is amazing, and so sleek. Nelson didn't have the ability to see into the future on his own. To watch TV and have the ability to see that his entire experience was certainly not a common occurrence with aliens in the future. He had seen many gifted magicians, and was always intrigued with the fact that they could alter reality to the extent where the audience was convinced it was real. How they did that was confusing to Nelson, but he always knew it was just a trick, either of the mind or the eye. There was no true magic behind it. It was more deceitful than anything else, but in a playful and benign manner. Quasi-crystals. How do I enter it? Okay, then just a thought and then wow. This is amazing on the inside. It's huge in here, like 16 feet tall and twice the diameter. That makes no sense. I am aware you are excited, as I am. However, as spoken, it possesses a dimensional rendering device. Here, open this door. Whoa, this is a huge room. How is this possible? It is no simple room. Laboratories, she said into the air. In an instant, the room widened and lengthened to almost twice its size. Countless devices appeared. Lab equipment, charts, interface screens, etc. But it was not an Earth laboratories. Half of the tools and peripherals were completely foreign. In all my days I would never have imagined such a thing. Tables everywhere. Fish tanks. Plants. This is so far beyond any lab I've ever seen. What is this device for? Observe this plant leaf as I place it on this table. Speak the words Tempus Futurus while directing the blue light beam onto it. Tempus Futurus. There. Oh, what the heck is going on? Whoa, the leaf began to age rapidly, and within seconds had died and disintegrated to the extent where it was then dust. Take this other leaf now. This one's purple dart, cool Lydian term. Invadiral tenra. Time reversed. Perform it now. Nelson followed her command and did the same thing to the second leaf. Gather the ash from the first. Ignore the new leaf now, she stated as he was still staring in disbelief. Alright, now what? Observe the ash. Speak the word Isis. Isis, Nelson replied as he looked at the pile of ashes. Sparks began to appear in the air around the pile, forming itself from the bottom up. A new leaf appeared. It had geometric lines intersecting across its surface and was a color blend of the two leaves. It was unlike anything he'd ever seen on Earth. He could see it inhaling and exhaling. Whoa, what the heck is that? It's breathing like I am. You created it. A new, undiscovered species. An example. Godlike. This laboratory is your new, personal testing facility. You may draw nature into existence like a paintbrush. The compartments, drawers, all are deep dimensioned. That wand will reduce any object to a manageable size. It is black. To be less confusing, whatever that means. Sorry, keep going. In other spectrums, the majority of them, it is black. Right. Of course, this wand will stay in the ship. Understood? Yes, of course. So I can take an elephant and put it in this little compartment that's only 3 times 4 inches. The most paramount point I can express is to never forget what you have stored. The elephant will be living, whether an inch tall or not. It will be existing in a time-formed stasis until it is returned to its natural environment. Touching the wand to its body, it will describe the entirety of the organism and display it upon that interface there. An entire herd, or a moon, or a downed ship that is too advanced to be left behind. All can be scaled to fit. The backup, and its exponential and optional redundancy rate is endless. The holding cells expand or consolidate themselves accordingly. You should begin to see a larger perspective now. Oh, this is becoming far more than what I could imagine. This is monumental, and a defining factor of supreme intelligence. This is not simply a scientific exploration craft. It is a universal laboratories. Antarius, you will land upon a newly formed planet, and will create life from this ship, and your mind, her ability to mimic a star, or anything in between, is integral to her effectiveness in terraforming planetary bodies. I'm beside myself. It's all coming together now, like a tsunami coming towards me. We're not simply talking about science anymore. We surely are, she replied. So this means, I have the ability to create a world, by yourself, like those that came to Earth in its infantile stage, and stimulated life upon its surface, and you will leave, like them, and travel to other realms, to do the same, and will be revered by all who arise from thence. It is Generation Antarius, the word of God, with divine truth being its twin. The legions, the alliance, the pantheon, the masters, upon their realm you now exist. Do well to embrace this and secure your mind. Welcome my star, to my world. In finality, the abilities of a god being, again in beside myself. It's one thing to spend your whole life trying to define life, from the basis of experimentation, but it's after the fact. This is divine science, the principle that creates the instances for scientific studies to begin with. Creation, generation from thought alone. I still have yet to reach that stage, but, so be it. I am humbled once more. So this is a typical lab ship, to go from one planet to the next, collecting information in the form of organisms. No way, and objects, inanimate objects as well. Starlight is threefold over the most superior civilizations known to us. Her database is extensive, multilinguistic, and possesses full reasoning abilities in other dimensions. She will help you to design things on other planets in the future. I like how you said that. The terraforming generators are not installed yet. The darker black spots you discovered under the ship's hull is where they will be installed. Veronis was prepared to install the system, then discovered a better and more efficient iteration. It is still being designed. That's totally fine with me. I can't say thank you enough to all of you. This isn't like opening a present. It's more like opening my eyes wider than I thought was possible. The multi-tiered deck in the center goes all the way around. It's going to take some time to review and learn the rest of what you both designed here. How incredibly sleek and advanced and clean it is in here. Rearrange it as you please. Think design, and it will appear as you please, oriented in any manner. Everything is interconnected. The ambient superconductor, power systems, virtual nerve systems, dimensional rendering systems. Varanus upstage is designed to a new form of helium hydride-induced plasma. The ultra-energetic radiation in the deep ultraviolet range is superior to any radiation, including laser, and as expressed prior, 1 second of exposure to cosmic radiation will sterilize an entire planetary surface in an instant. Varanus chose that formula due to its ability to dissolve a sentient spacecraft from the exterior inward. Short of that, within less than 2 seconds an enemy planet's surface will be molten. A laser cannot perform the same. From millions of light gravity Earth years away, a dot it would produce, but a cloudy, low-resolution dot. Varanus did not simply create what I described as definitions. There is controller stick there. Press that dot. What is it? Grab it and move it, and observe the screen above you. Wow. And small triangle within another one is on the screen, and I can move it around. Indeed. However, when the interface is on, that indicator will be directed to the enemy. The button on the top will release the radiation. 1 second is all that it requires. She will not miss the target. HH for an radiation cosmic ray. L1, 2 and 3 for compounded laser. For compounded cosmic radiation, the command is photonic wave generator. Varanus combined the alternate types of radiation into one. He defined it as a Y-sub Note 4X class spectral profile. Something about an additional mass reducer. He is beyond creative. It is too powerful in my opinion. A bit excessive. However, he was excited and afforded great lengths of time to design it. Thus it is both he and I, up to 98% completion, that created it. 40/60. So I'm assuming you're the 60% in it indeed. Now I must express the factor of discovery. Not you or her, but others on the planet's surfaces. Starlight is for the most part. Starlight. Incredible luminosity she possesses. If you desire to be followed, you can surely be seen. Thus her command is cloak tangent D variable, meaning dimensions. D1 up to D18 are available when approaching a planet. Vapor will form outside the ship due to the temperature inversion between the ship and the 20° Fahrenheit air temperature at 30,000 feet in elevation upon planets like Earth. Beta. In lower elevations, as gravitational magnetic lines are less than 1 mile apart on Earth in most sectors other than the poles, basic ships experienced stabilization as their ship attempts to decide which magnetic field line spacing is most efficient. Thus they swerve and bounce and become difficult to maneuver. Starlight, however, requires no gravitational field lines whatsoever. Smooth, flawless operation, and that is a testament to the superiority of a refined alien ship of the highest class known. So there's nothing out there better than her then? When I first learned of these, you expressed that there was nothing more powerful than them. That was then. This is present. Evolution defines technology as it does organic life. Dilly, my ship, would tend to disagree with you. Starlight, her designs, her structure, her reasoning, multidimensional mastery, they cannot be compared. However, Dilly is superior. My apologies Starlight, yet you are her sibling. Mother duality. Sister Dilly, Mother Alendria, wondrous. Her reasoning processor is perfect. Just so you know, this is still really odd. I'm laughing, I know, but I just ships that are smart and can talk and stuff. Now you are aware of the difference between the human brain and ours. It for a brief moment defies your reasoning, thus it requires time and adjustments to learn of that new reality. I am aware this is overwhelming and new, and we are aware that there is only so much space in your mind to consume it at this rate. Well done, thanks. I'm getting faster at it. Indeed you are. Gravity in the interior is nullified and stabilized during operation for ease of use. All items not secured will merge temporarily into a holding dimension until you require them. Full speed, instant deceleration to a stop. You can accelerate to photon speed in less than a half second, or decelerate from light speed to 0. She will convert into a wave or particle, your choice. Now that is an incredible design feature, safety, and superiority. There you are. There you are not. In an instant. We will return to the full assessment of it shortly. Well, this is always a huge surprise. I can't thank you both enough. There are no words to express it well enough. Varanus, if you can hear me, I can't thank you enough. Do not yell. I can hear you, Varanus said as his head appeared and stared at Nelson. Thanks Varanus. Really, indeed. The dirt on your feet, Alendria. How substandard, Varanus said as his head disappeared. Such a fool. He irks me to no end at times, whilst having particles of dirt on his face in his explanation. You guys are hilarious at times. Like really, just like humans in that respect. Sorry, do you want me to go with you? Not this time. And beside me, you have quite a learning curve ahead of you. Okay. My god, you are warm today. Whoa. Okay then, of course, tease me and then leave. Until next time, she said as she became fully naked and then disappeared as he looked at the UFO. He heard her for a moment in his mind. Our encounters with you are yet more complex than you are aware. Our goal was to expedite your learning by exposing you directly to our world. And in doing so, the future has been brought to you with us in this ship. A marker of your progress with us. A living companion, learning tool and weapon of the highest intelligence. It gave me self and Verenus great pleasure to create this for you. Use imagination and assume you are the one tasked with their development. How then would you perform the same? Compare the old vehicle to the future version. It is an example of the rate in which humanity moves itself into the future. You will learn with each passing moment, no matter the stimulus, she said as she ended that part of their conversation. What was Nelson's next move? He got into his UFO and walked around in it for 2 hours. He then sat down in his pilot chair for the first time. The seat lit up and the entire interior lit up. Holographic lights appeared in the air, with screened interfaces all set to be activated. What do I do next? Starlight, place your hands on the spheres. Your right appendage will cause me to move upon a lateral axis. Forward, back, diagonal, right, left. The sphere on the left is my altitude and accelerator. Roll it forward. I will ascend. Press down once and roll it forward. I will accelerate, or reverse. This button is for instant landing, where we appear after we land upon the surface. Other than superliminal speeds, there are preset speeds of 1,000, 3,000 and 330,000 Earth miles per Earth hour. When opposition appears, utilize the aiming indicator. A pulse detonator is the primary weapon for land-based offense. It is a bioelectrical weapon that detonates into thousands of spheres that connect to every organic living enemy. Lightning links them together. It is the most basic of my armament, yet a fast and effective electromagnetic pulse weapon that possesses a level of area effect damage that is unequaled. It will decommission electronic weapons and relay technology, and will course itself.